Hi and welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at the gait cycle. So, what we are trying to understand is before we get into the instrumentation and the technology that we use to measure gait, what we want to understand is how does gait function, right? What is involved in gait, and we will try to understand that by looking at a gait cycle, and I'll define what a gait cycle is in just a moment. So this is the figure that we looked at in the previous video as well. Now, if you look at the walking of this lady, you can see that the walking proceeds in kind of a periodic fashion, right? And that would make sense. Now, if you look at her right leg, you can see that the right leg, it moves forward, touches the ground, goes back, she goes forward, and then the right leg lifts up, goes forward, and then again the right leg is lifting up, right? So there's a pattern. There's this gait is usually periodic, and gait cycle basically defines one period of this walking cycle. Okay, and there are different ways in which you can define one gait cycle. uh, Also, if you look at this video, and I think I have the next slide. So if you look at this video, you can see that there are two stages that each of the legs goes through. One is where the leg is actually touching the ground, right? So uh, that uh, that step is called the stance phase. The stance phase is the phase when one of the legs is touching the ground. So if you look at the gait cycle here and you look at the left leg, so you have a left stance phase. So that's the time when the left leg is on the ground. And there's another stage where you have the right stance phase, where the right leg is on the ground, right? Now, what happens when the left leg, when there is the left leg is on the ground? There is some time when both the legs are on the ground, right? So you have double support here and you have double support here. And while the left leg is on the ground, there is a time when the right leg is swinging forward, right? So that is called the swing phase. So there are two phases in a gait cycle, the stance phase and the swing phase. And both the stance and the swing phase are there for the right leg and the left leg separately. Okay, when there is a phase in your walking when both legs are on the ground, that is called the double support phase, or the double support phase, let's say. And there is a phase in your walking when only one of the legs is on the ground while the other leg is swinging. That is called the single support phase. Okay, great. Now what we are going to do in the next of the video is try to divide this stance and swing phase into more smaller parts and look at uh, what the characteristics of those parts are. Now, the reason why you want to divide this is because as you do gait analysis, you want to say something like, well, there is an abnormality in the swing phase, or notice what's happening in the left stance phase. The right leg swing is not happening properly. You know, so it helps you to divide the gait cycle into smaller parts so that you can then focus on each of these phases and look at the abnormalities or the normality of the gait in each of the stages. Okay, so let's go on and look at some more details. Okay, so the gait cycle is basically divided, as I said, into a stance phase, uh, into a stance phase and a swing phase, right? And in the stance phase, we have a few more stages. You can divide the stance phase into a few more stages, and you can divide the swing phase into a few more stages. Let's look at that each in turn. So the gait cycle starts when the let's say when there is initial contact. So let's this is the right leg, right? So the right leg has swung forward and then the heel touches the ground first. So this is called the initial contact. Uh, Let me just turn off my video so that you can see the entire slide here. So, so that's the right initial contact. Now, once the right initial contact happens, you have, this is also the start of the right stance phase, right? Once you put the right foot down, the foot is going to be on the ground while the left foot is going to swing forward in some time. So the next phase is what is called the loading response, where what is happening is there is more and more weight being applied into the right foot. Uh, just before the uh, just before the initial contact, all the weight of the body was on the left foot, right? Now the right foot has touched the ground, and after this, the the weight of the body is going to shift from the left foot onto the right foot, and this is what is defined by the loading response. Okay. uh, and once the weight on the right foot is keeping, it will keep on increasing till the time that you have an opposite toe off, that is the left foot leaves the ground completely. Okay, when the left foot leaves the ground completely, you are starting the left swing phase. Okay, before that, the weight was even distributed, not evenly, but it was distributed both on the right and the left foot. But at toe off, the left foot leaves the ground and all the weight of the body is now on the right foot. Okay, the left foot swings forward, so it's the left swing phase, and this is also single support. This is right single support because only your right leg is taking all the weight of your body. uh, and this place where both the legs are approximately in the same place is called the mid stance. Right now, the right leg is almost straight now, and the left leg is swinging forward and is just crossing the right leg. Uh, and as the left leg starts to move forward, the right heel starts to go up the ground. So you have a heel rise. And once you have the heel rise, as the heel rises, the left foot heel then touches the ground. So you have an opposite initial contact. And and we have similar steps now on the left foot. So you have the opposite initial contact, and then you have the toe off for the right foot, right? And at this point, all the weight of the body, once the toe off happens, all the weight of the body will be on your left foot. And then it is the right leg that is moving forward, and you have a stage where your feet are adjacent to each other, and then the right leg is going forward, and at some point the tibia is vertical. Uh, and then, well, the next step is going to be the step that we started off, which is the heel contact, isn't it? So the first step that we said was the initial contact. So we go back. So you start with the initial contact, and now we can look up all the steps. So start with the initial contact. You have the loading response, and then you have the opposite toe off. And once the opposite toe off happens, you have the mid stance phase, you have a heel rise, you have the opposite initial contact, you have the toe off of your right leg, you have the feet adjacent, tibia vertical, and then you go back to the initial contact. So that's your gait cycle. Okay, and in the next few videos, we'll see how we measure whether the gait cycle is normal or abnormal, and what kind of instruments and what kind of clinical information these give.